Me and my brother live together. I'm 14, and my brother is 17. Our parents left both of us when we were little. We were put in a children's home, and after a few years, we got fostered by a man named Jeffrey Clums. He was a tall, burly man, with a beard and huge arms, the kind of a man that everyone is kind of scared of. He took good care of us, made food every day, gave us both our own rooms, let us each have a cell phone, gave us attention, even though he was always busy, and adopted a cat for my 11th birthday. We loved him, and considered him our own father. What happened, Pa? I asked, as he took off his blue leather jacket. It's nothing, Randy, boy, he said, not making eye contact. That's when my older brother, Chris, came into the kitchen, holding our cat Muffin. What's wrong, Pa? You look sorta mad, he said jokingly, patting Muffin on his head. Don't you worry about me, both of you, he said very quietly. I know something's wrong, Pa, and I ain't stopping until you tell me what it is, said Chris, staring at him. You wanna really know? No, you don't, said Pa. That's when I looked at Chris, and he looked confused and worried altogether. He saw me looking, and gave a wobbly smile. What is it? I have lung cancer, said Pa, so quietly that I barely heard him. Cancer. Was he going to die? How would he get money for the medicine? Pa, you're kidding us, right? Said Chris, slowly putting Muffin on the nearest couch. No, Chris, this is serious, and I need to be in the hospital in a few hours, he said, and looked as if he was about to cry. I couldn't believe it. The person I loved the most, who took care of us, was going to die. Nah, I can't take it. Pa, I said, fighting now, don't worry, you can stay in the hospital with me, while Chris stays home with Muffin. And then I stay with you, while Randy watches Muffin, said Chris quietly. I could notice his eyes were all watery. Yeah, that's a few, started Pa, but then stopped. That's right, Chris. We had some supper, which was my favorite meal, spaghetti with meatballs, but I couldn't enjoy it. How would we survive without our father? How would we get money? Will we get put in a children's home again? I had a million thoughts racing through my mind. No, it can't be true. Pa and cancer didn't belong in the same sentence. While I was brushing my teeth, I had a sudden thought. What if Pa survives the cancer? Yes. This was my only hope. It's the only thing I thought about. After all, my Pa was strong. A strong man. We wouldn't give him to cancer. After brushing my teeth, I went to get ready for bed. Our bed was at the edge of the house, with a small window next to Chris's bed. I changed into my pajamas and jumped into my bed. After Chris jumped into his bed, I turned off the lights. I was starting to drift off, but then I heard the door unlock. Pa was supposed to be sleeping by now. What? I thought. It was 2:08 a.m. that I woke up. I was awoken by a sound of tapping. Tap, tap, tap. It was quiet, but unmistakably tapping. I suddenly had the horrid thought of someone creepy tapping on the window. I was getting out of bed, closing my eyes with my hands, not wanting to look at the window. I was going to tell Pa to take care of whoever was out there. My hand was on the doorknob, when suddenly, I looked at the window. It was a big, burly man with a beard. Right. My father. Except, it didn't look like my father anymore. He had kind of red eyes, as if he was rubbing them for the past hour. His eyes were open wide, creepily. He had a nasty, freaky big smile on. His teeth looked sharp. He was pressing his face against the window. He had red palms. Red, liquid, blood. He was so creepy looking that I had to bite my tongue not to scream. He was looking directly down at Chris, who was sleeping peacefully. I had to make no noise or he would notice me. One thought. Why was Pa outside at 2 a.m. staring at Chris through the window? No idea. I stepped behind, as quietly and slowly as I could. The wooden floor creaked. Oh no. No, Pa suddenly looked directly at me. He looked scary. He didn't even look human. I was taken aback by his scary face, so I screamed as loud as I could. Surely, Chris suddenly woke up, baffled. He noticed the shadow behind him, on the window. Peepaw, he said, and Father suddenly looked back at Chris. Chris gave out a blood-curdling scream, and Pa stepped back, and fell down on the floor. Help! Screamed Chris, struggling to grab his glasses from the lamp table next to him. That's when a neighbor burst through the door, looking confused, with a shovel on his hand. What happened? He asked. My Peepaw he was there, on the window, looking at us. He looked weird. Help. I need help, Randy. He was stammering through scared gazes around the room. Your Pa, Mr. Jeffrey, he asked. Yes, why yes, sir, I said, uncertainly. The neighbor looked through the window and saw our father on the ground, with blood on his hands, looking unconscious. The neighbor quickly called the police and took us to his own house. We explained the situation when the police arrived. Chris was hugging me tightly the whole time, asking if I was alright. After a few hours, Pa woke up. He didn't say anything to the police or US, and they took him for questioning. After a week or so, my father was arrested. It turns out he didn't have any cancer, but he needed a kidney transplant. So he was planning on fibbing on us and killing Chris, taking his kidney, and, yeah, crazy logic he has. He thought if he just took Chris's kidney and gave it to the hospital, they would give him an immediate transplant. Scary.